Hi, 8th grade. Hope you had a good weekend. Today we're going to continue with 11-6 part 2. Our skill today is to find the sum or difference. Let's take a look at an example. Here we have 4d squared over d plus 2d squared over d squared. So on Friday when we did this lesson, we were already set up with similar denominators, so we could combine and then simplify. Here in today's lesson, or today's part of the lesson, you are going to have to create the common denominator. So for this example, in order to make d and d squared the same, we'll have to multiply this entire fraction by d, right? A fraction equal to 1. Whatever you do to the top, you have to do to the bottom. It's that whole twin rule, right, from equations. When we do that, we're left with 4d cubed over d squared plus d plus 2 over d squared. So now we can combine them. When we combine the numerators, we end up with 4d cubed plus d plus 2 over d squared. This cannot be factored. Okay, so this is our final answer. Let's do another one. X plus 7 over x squared minus 6x plus 9 plus x plus 3 over x minus 3. In order to get a common denominator, we're going to need to factor this trinomial first. I'm going to bet that one of its factors is x minus 3. So, however you do that, right, if you break it down, whatever you need to do, whether it's in your head, I know factoring for some of you comes really quick, and for some of you not so much. Whatever it takes, right, we want to make sure we end up with positive 9 when we multiply, and a negative 6 when we add, which is x minus 3, x minus 3. So we still don't have a common denominator, but you can see where we're headed. We're going to take this second fraction. So the first time we took the first fraction and we multiplied. This time it's the second fraction. And in order to make it the same, we're going to have to multiply by x minus 3 over x minus 3. Still a fraction equal to 1. And when we do that, this whole fraction has stayed the same. And this one now has its second part, okay? So if we continue from here, we're going to need to multiply it out and then combine, right? So by multiply it out, I mean FOIL or whatever it is you like to use. So I'm gonna get, if I do my first, right, I get x squared. The outside is negative 3x. The inside is positive 3x, so that falls out, right? I have a positive 3x here, and I have a negative 3x there, so that's no x's. And then I have a positive and a negative 3, so that's going to be negative 9. And then I also have these, right? So I have x plus 7 plus x squared minus 9 over x minus 3 times x minus 3. From here, I'm going to combine like terms. So I have a positive 7 and I have a negative 9. So that's going to look like x squared, if I put it in order, plus x minus 2 over x minus 3 times x minus 3. And hopefully you notice that this is a trinomial, which means I can factor it down into two binomials. So if I want a negative 2 on the end, but a positive in the middle, that means I'm going to need a positive 2 and a negative 1. None of these cancel down, right? I can't cancel it with any of the others, but I can write x minus 3 times x minus 3 simpler. So I'm just going to square it. Okay? All right. let's do one more example and then one for you to try. Here we go. This time we have two fractions and two very different denominators. So b plus 3 over b plus b minus 5 over b plus 1. So in order to get a common denominator, right, just like when we had basic fractions back in, I don't know, 4th, 5th grade, you multiplied, right? When they didn't have something in common, you just multiplied them. Or if you couldn't think, right? If you couldn't think of one quick enough, just multiply the two together. And that's what we'll be doing in this particular example. So the b plus 1, we're going to multiply to both of these, right? So that's our fraction equal to 1, b plus 1 over b plus 1. And then to the second fraction, we're going to multiply what we had in the beginning, a b, so b over b. And when we do that, we have b plus 3 times b plus 1 plus b minus 5 times b. So from here, we're going to have to multiply out and then simplify where we can, okay? So if I FOIL this, I end up with b squared, and then I have a positive 3b and a positive 1b. So I have plus 4b, and then when I do last, I have 3 times 1, so that's 3. And then when I multiply these, right, I distribute the b, I get plus a b squared, and then minus 5b. All of that over b times b plus 1. So if I continue, now I can combine any that are the same. So that gives me 2b squared, and then I have a positive 4 and a negative 5, so that's going to be negative 1b. And then I have just a 3 all by itself. Nothing to combine it with, and it's positive, so it will stay. On the bottom, I have b times b plus 1. For this, I'm going to check and see if I can factor, right? So this might be your 2 and your 3. Oops. And you get the factors, so 1 times 3, 1 times 2. We need a negative b in the middle, but positive on the outside. So this is not factorable. It's not factorable. We can't break this down into binomials, so that will be our top, 2b squared minus b plus 3. And then our bottom can be multiplied, so b squared plus b. And nothing is the same, so nothing can be canceled out. And that is our final answer. Okay? Sorry, guys. Okay, a you try. Here's yours. A over a to the a plus 4 plus 6 over a plus 2. So similar to the one we just did, there is no common denominator. You'll have to multiply the denominators to the opposite fraction. Okay, I'm going to work on this silently. I'm going to let you do the same. when you finish getting your answer, take a look at the one I got and make sure that you're on the right track. If not, try it again. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll be on at 2:15 for questions. Your homework tonight is page 717, 33 through 47, odds only. Check your answers in the back of the book.